My name is Jeff, and today I will be talking about the 2021 film Malignant, directed by James Wan and starring Annabelle Walllis, Maddie Hasson, and George Young. Malignant is about a pregnant woman named Madison, played by Annabelle Walllis, who begins having these terrible nightmares or premonitions, basically, of people being murdered. And while this happens, she gets paralyzed. And later on, she starts to realize that these visions are actually reality. It's actually happening. As the film progresses, Madison starts looking more into her past as she was adopted, and she starts to remember things about basically having an imaginary friend named Gabriel who she believes is the one behind these terrible murders. Holy fuck. This film had the best twist halfway through the film, or more than halfway through the film. I was completely just surprised, and it was so good. I haven't been this excited about reviewing a film like ever. When I went into watching this film, I had no idea what to expect. I mean, the plot sounded kind of basic, and I just thought it was going to be like a premonition film. But it's so much more than that. There are so many twists and turns. It keeps you guessing, and that's what's interesting about this film. Like, I was kind of lost throughout the film, but it wasn't like the lost where it's like, what the hell is going on? It's more like, what is happening? And I want to know more. Like, I want to know what exactly is going on. Like, why is this happening? And, is this person the killer, or is that person the killer? And you just start questioning. And I guarantee you that when you get towards the end, you will not see that reveal coming. Like, you won't know. You wouldn't have guessed that. There's just no way. The very first scene of this film is sort of misleading. I didn't know what to expect. I kind of realized that there was going to be like a supernatural element, but I didn't know, like, is this going to go like superhero status, or is this like actually a horror film? So it kept me guessing, and I like that. Like, I thought that this was something unlike I've ever seen, and I had a blast watching this. It was very fun. James Wan does a great job in directing this film. He directed The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 and the Insidious films and Saw. And so this guy knows horror. And I feel like this film is no exception because it was very disturbing. It's interesting because there is a bit of humor in this film, and that is one of the things that I would have improved on. I didn't really like that there was an uneven tone. So it was terrifying and horror, and then there was a bit of comedy. I feel like I would have kept a couple of jokes in there, but for the most part, I would have kept the tone more serious. But then there are scenes that are a little over the top and sort of cheesy, so I can understand that taking itself too serious might have not been the best call. But overall, James Wan is a master of horror. I think he's proven himself again. This was such an original concept. And that reveal scene, like, I literally was like Rose Byrne at the end of Insidious when she's like covering her mouth and like, because she was so shocked. Like, that's how I was. And then there's this scene that happens shortly after the big reveal that takes place in the prison, and that was just wow, like, that was just so intense and super bloody. This film is incredibly gory, so if you're squeamish, that might be something to look out for. It is very, very bloody and violent, so don't be fooled. The cinematography in this film is shot very well. If you've seen James Wan's films, he has a very strong perspective, and the visuals in here are great. It's very dark, but you can see clearly, and there are a lot of horrifying images throughout this film. And as far as the directing goes, I think the direction, for this film was done very well. Annabelle Walllis plays the lead character of Madison, and initially you take on her as the final girl, right? But they also introduce her sister, that's played by Maddie Hasson, and she basically acts as a foil to her character. But she kind of takes on this secondary final girl type role in the film, and she's very likable, and She takes a liking to the detective that is basically helping Madison with this case. Which brings me to my next point. I really like that this film finally had a handsome Asian man as the lead in a film, and I think George Young was perfect for this role. He was charismatic. You were rooting for him, and I think he plays a love interest to the younger sister Sydney, played by Maddie Hasson. I thought it was great to have him there, and his character was kind of funny too, and as well as his partner. I liked both of the police officers in this, or the detectives in this film. They were very funny. This film is exactly what needs to be done these days. There needs to be original stories of course everything's been told in some way, shape, or form, but I feel like instead of doing all these remakes and reboots and sequels, like, create original content, create an original story. I think that especially for horror film, I think that Malignant brings something new to the table. There's nothing else like it that I can really think of. If there is another film similar to it, please let me know, because I'd like to check it out. Without giving away any spoilers, I think that the thought of being in Madison's position is just terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And just being paralyzed, not being able to move, while knowing that all of these horrible things are happening, by something evil. Overall, I have to give Malignant a 9 out of 10 stars. I feel like this film was so original. I was super entertained throughout, and yes, it was a little over the top and cheesy in certain parts, and the tone was a little off at times between comedy and horror. But I think that we need more films like this. I think that we need original content. It was scary, and that shocking reveal made it worth watching. And I definitely will be watching this film again and adding it to my collection. I had such a fun time watching this film, and I was so excited to review it because I wanted to recommend it to as many people as I could as fast as possible. So if you haven't checked out Malignant, definitely check it out. Please let me know what you guys think below. I hear that this film is very divided. You either think it's brilliant, like I do, or you think that it's just terrible. So please let me know what you guys think. I'd like to start a discussion. And I hope that you guys liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. And don't forget to subscribe to me if you haven't already. And I will see you guys for the next review.